All right, cool, cool. Good morning, or good afternoon, New York. How we doing? Nah, come on. I know we can do better than that. I said, good afternoon, New York. How are we doing today? I love it. I love it. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Anthony Valentine. I'm the founder of Soul Ties and Culture, and I'll be your moderator for this brief conversation that we'll be having with the man you all came to see. And so, with that being said, I want to give a special thanks to PUMA, to all of the staff, the Do Better Foundation, the Schomburg Center for hosting this, for allowing us to be in this space, to feel safe, to feel loved, and importantly, to learn. And so, with that being said, let's kick things off. Don't want to take too much of your time. It's with great pleasure and with great honor that I'm introducing a world-class instructor. I'm introducing a author of Activate Your Greatness, a motivational speaker, the co-founder of the Do Better Foundation, and so many other titles that we're going to learn about in this moment. So if we could, give it up for Alex Toussaint, please.
I appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. God bless. Thank you, guys.
So Alex, it's truly an honor to have you here. You're inspiration to me. You're inspiration to many. And for some, they first learned about you when you rode that Peloton bike. For others, they may have first learned about you through Instagram. For those that may not know you, who is Alex Toussaint? And not only that, but what's one thing you wish people knew about you?
Ooh, who is Alex Toussaint? In the shortest statement, just a Haitian American kid trying to make mom and dad proud every single day. Um, that's the motivation of why I wake up and just get things going. Is because as somebody who went to military school and understands the power of your last name versus your first name, I just want to provide opportunity for the next generation to come. The resources that I had, and also just to validate the resources my parents sacrificed to provide for myself and my brothers. And one thing that I would love for people to know about me is my entire ecosystem of life is built on we, not me. So when people come up to me and say, thank you, I appreciate you, in a reciprocative way, that gives me the fuel and the inspiration to keep going. Because I truly don't do it anymore for myself. I do it to watch other people come to this other side of life, this beautiful side of life, to find their confidence, find their alignment, hopefully find their purpose, but most importantly, to help them find their gratitude. So I get a true inspiration, a true fuel to my fire when people are telling me that I've helped them through their journey. That means everything to me. That means everything to me.
Love that, love that. Can we give a round of applause for that right there? That's love. And so what I'm hearing is something that was mentioned in the book as well. That's the philosophy of do better, right? Giving unto others, right? Supporting others along their journey. So if we could, can you tell us about the inspiration behind Activate Your Greatness?
Yeah. I have this thing that, like, as somebody who dropped out of college, I learned a lot of my information through music, through a lot of hip hop artists, in full transparency. And Jay-Z being one of my biggest motivators, he has this thing that he says, everybody has genius level talent. You just have to stay the course and tap into it. So when I dropped out of college and just seeing that interview, I told myself in that moment, being like, the next time I'm provided an opportunity, I'm gonna run all the way with this for the times that I got left back in high school, for the times that, like, I didn't apply myself and I watched all my friends open their envelopes and be like, I'm going to this college, I'm going to this 4-year school, and I'm in the back of the class like, damn, I didn't apply myself for 3 years and look how fast I got left back. So now my whole thing is utilizing every single day as an opportunity, as an audition to be great, and refusing to allow myself to not even attempt. I'm very big on now, like, learning through failure. And fail is like the acronym for first attempt in learning. As a kid, as a Haitian American, my dad was like, if you fail at that, you a piece of, you better not, I didn't come to this country for you to fail. So a lot of the times I was scared, I never even tried. Now as an adult, I understand a lot of my failures or my experiences, that I'm trying to share all my failures on Front Street, because that has been my ultimate level of strength, utilizing my vulnerability as information to share to other people. So, yeah.
That's love, that's love. And reading the book, there were 2 points in your life when you heard these words, your life will forever change. Can you speak to those 2 moments and what they meant to you?
Yeah, I came home from college. I went to school for audio and video production. So as somebody who works in entertainment now, it's crazy how life comes full circle. But I went to school, my high school yearbook, dream job, it says ESPN cameraman. So I went to school for audio and video production. So everything that I do at Peloton is essentially what I learned in college. but I was fighting depression, which I didn't even realize was depression. A lot of people don't understand that you could be at rock bottom, but you don't know you're at rock bottom because you're present. You don't know until you get out of it. So when I dropped out of college, came back home, my dad kicked me out of the house. And if you read the book, there's some words that I won't repeat now because it's a friendly environment. But my dad said some words to me that were like the jump start of me activating my greatness. And I remember looking at him in the face. He said, "Get the F out the house. Your life is forever going to change." And I remember in that moment, I looked at him and I said, "You're going to bite those words." So every single day for the 3 years after that, I woke up with the intent of trying to prove my father wrong. So I was sleeping on my best friend's floor. I was working for a company called Flywheel Sports. And at the time, it was an indoor cycling company that I was mop the floors, but listen to these instructors teach through a fish hole. So I'm listening to the music, I'm listening to the motivation. And for a lot of Peloton members here, you understand once you get that motivation, you hear it, you want to start then receiving it and then also delivering it to other people. So one day I just asked the owner of the company, whose name is Ruth Zuckerman, who's still my life mentor till this day. I said, "Ruth, I think I can become an instructor." She looked at me dead in my face and said, "Give me 2 weeks of your time. We're going to lock it in." So 2 weeks of just nonstop training, nonstop understanding how to operate from an instructor standpoint provided me an opportunity 12 years later to still be doing what I love to do every single day at the greatest company in the world, in my opinion. Also in this same space, when Peloton came to recruit me, Ruth was the CEO. She pulled me inside and said, "You need to go to this company because you're going to be the first black person in a lot of people's households across the world." So it took one person to believe in me more than I believed in myself to give me an opportunity, and also to say, if it doesn't work out, you always have a place to come home. So that was the one moment. Then when I joined Peloton for the first 2 years, April 4th, 2016, 4:30 in the afternoon, 23rd Street in the city, my phone rings and it's my dad. And we all know when the phone rings at a certain time of the day, depending on whose name across, you're like, "Oh, what's this gonna be right here?" And my dad, I picked up the phone and all he said to me was, "Yeah, yo, Lex, I just wanna let you know I'm proud of you." And I searched 22 and a half years for that sense of validation. So for those that have ever taken Ride to Greatness, the reason why the teams are called Team Validate and Team Activate was because I understood every single day I needed to wake up to activate my greatness. And on April 4th, 2016, my dad helped me validate my greatness from that point going forward. So my concept to every single person out here is we all have individual level of greatness that we have to activate every single day, but also self-validate as well. And if you're able to do those two things, you stay protected in your greatness, and you then find a way to share it with other individuals.
I love that. I love that a lot. I love that a lot. Yeah. And something that I noticed that I find really profound is this importance of impacting others, right? You talk about in your book this mountaintop, this summit that we reach. And once we get to that summit, we must pull somebody else up. When you were younger, you didn't always notice that these individuals that were helping you were what you called guardian angels. And so there was Coach Hartwell, there was your kindergarten teacher, guidance counselor in high school, there's Dave, there's Archie, right? There's Ruth, right? So as advice to us, how can we be more aware of the guardian angels? Like, is there a way for us to be more, see them more visibly or notice them more?
Well, I think a lot of it is not blocking your blessing, right? One of the key things in life is your sense of awareness. And if you have the ability to understand that people see something in you when you can't see it in yourself, that gives you a little bit more of an advantage. I feel like for a lot of people that have success, you get that through motivators, but also mentors. So everybody that you just mentioned in that statement is somewhat of a mentor in my life, whether it was Coach Hartwell, who was my first black gym coach in an all-white school, or whether it was Ruth Zuckerman, or whether it was my kindergarten teacher. All these individuals saw me going through a certain level of darkness, but saw potential in me if provided the proper opportunity. So they always stayed after school a little bit extra. And I understand now, I'm like, oh, they didn't get paid for that. They did that strictly because they loved me. So my concept to other people now is I want to allow everybody the opportunity to see light in themselves when they can't see it for themselves. So my whole thing is like, if you take my class, I'm going to whoop you. I'm going to kick you because I want you to understand you were born to have this sense of greatness. You were born to find this light. And a lot of people can't understand the difference between the light at the end of the tunnel or the light that's coming towards them. And that right there is all about perspective. So I just try to make sure everybody understands that we didn't wake up by accident. Let's not move by accident. Let's not execute by accident. And let's not live by accident. And that itself keeps me going and allows me to do what I do at a high level every single day. And the mountaintop concept is we climb mountains so we could view the world, not so the world views us. Like, there's a lot of people that are trying to fight to get to the top, but there's competition at the bottom, there's collaboration at the top. And the more people that we could bring up to the top, the more we could expand this thing called community love, the more that we could be seen in places that we haven't been seen before. So when I think about myself as a black instructor in 2012, 13, getting onto a spin bike that went absolutely nowhere, people were like, yo, black people don't do that, you crazy. Or like, that's not really gonna work out. And I was like, nah, there's a lane for me, which means there's a lane for others. So the whole concept was to knock down a lot of walls so other individuals can run through.
That's love too. That's love. Yeah, can we please round of applause for that as well? I know you're a Jay-Z fan, and we all know you're a Jay-Z fan now, right? And I know that on April 4th, 2016, you became Peloton's first black instructor. Can we give a round of applause? Please, please. And after that first class, you got that phone call from your father saying he was proud of you. And a year later, Jay-Z dropped 444. And there's a record on that album called Family Feud. And there's a line, nobody wins when the family feuds. And so my question to you is, that process of healing and forgiveness of your father, because you and your father are tight today. Y'all like best friends from what I understand. And so like, what's the importance of healing, or how'd you get to this place of healing or forgiveness? Because you went through a lot. You went through a lot.
Yeah, I think what happened is I got onto a spin bike. In full transparency, I was broke, physically, mentally, and financially, but I truly got onto it to make some money. Let me be very transparent to you. Along the journey of moving my body, pull back. Spin bike, stationary, goes absolutely nowhere, but takes you so far. So as somebody who was in a sense of darkness and wanting to make money to prove my father wrong, I didn't realize over time within the repetitions of moving the pedal strokes that I was mentally and physically taking myself to a whole new alignment of life. So after my first year, I started to feel different. I started to move different. I started to talk different. And I also started to attract different. And I realized in that moment, movement is a healing process. So I was very mindful of every time I got onto a spin bike to move with a purpose, execute with an intention, and nothing be by accident. And my father, to his credit, to be very transparent, he went through his own healing process and own healing journey. And we somehow have, in the last like 4 years, have met each other at this common space of understanding, forgiveness, appreciation, and also gratitude. So this book, I wouldn't be able to write this book without my father's permission. I had to call him and be like, Dad, for me to tell my story to the truest, I gotta ask you, because there's a lot of dark stuff from our childhood that, like, unless you're comfortable, I can't share. And my dad flat out said, you lived your life through your experiences. You're not wrong. You're not right. You need to tell it exactly how it is. So for him to give me that blessing is why we have this book called Activate Your Greatness, because if he didn't go through his own level of healing, he would have been like, absolutely not. Don't share that with the world. So that let me know that time does heal if you're purposeful about how you use your time.
Love. And so we're here today, the Literacy Festival, Schomburg Center, and as a author, right? And next week will be Juneteenth. My question to you is, how did you decide to, like, what vulnerable pieces you would give? Because I'm sure, like, you were writing in this writing process as an author, thinking to yourself, this is too much. Maybe I can give this. Because your book is not only a memoir, it's a manual as well. So that balance as a first-time author, like, how'd you navigate that?
I can't even take the credit for that. I'm going to give the credit to my manager, one of my best friends, Dave, in the front row. Dave, Archie's not here as well, but early on in my career, Dave would tell me, yo, be cautious about what stories you share, because at one point we're going to be able to put it into a piece of paper. Since the start of my career, he said that. We just went through a lot of evolution and growth within that 12-year process that there was like a moment where it was like, yo, it's time. And somebody reached out, a book company reached out, and it was purposeful. It made sense. It was like the fact that I went through healing, the opportunity presented itself. We were in a pause of just like, where do we want to take this thing called our career? What direction do we want to go in? And I kind of was like, God forbid something ever happens to me, I wanted somewhat of a North Star of information for people to use as a resource. So that's how the book came about. But it came because my friend was like, be cautious of what we share on the platform. Let's save that for the book. Let's save that for the piece of paper that people could always use as a North Star. So I was teaching my classes, but still like dancing around topics and dancing around certain things that like I didn't want to share too early on in my career. That way I had a little more sense of power when we put it into a book.
That's love too. Everything love, right?
You can't do anything without a team, by the way. We can only go so far individually. Collectively, we go further together. So I always tell people, make sure you have a good surrounding cast. My mother always told me, you are the company you keep. So I'm very mindful of the friends that I keep around me because those are the friends that will make you feel like you're floating even though you could be drowning in life. So make sure you keep good people around you at all times.
Love. So, military school dropout, almost went to Haiti, right? To working as a janitor, to cleaning them bikes so good while being aware of the classes and seeing the potential inside of you, to then taking the opportunity to become an instructor at Flywheel, to then working at Peloton, to writing and being an author to your book, to sitting in Harlem, where the Harlem Renaissance occurred. The Sean Berg Center sits right there. And Juneteenth is a celebration of us, a celebration of we and the shoulders that we stand on. And so, what feelings just like are present right now? What do you feel like? Tell us about that.
Yeah, one of the things that makes me extremely proud, actually at 2 o'clock today, I got to go teach a cycling class. It is going to be for Father's Day, all men in the room. When I started my career 2012, full transparency, the room didn't look like that, in all honesty. I didn't see a lot of men in the room, and I didn't see a lot of people of color in the room. And I was very mindful when I got to Peloton to try to figure out how do I create that opportunity. And I realized I can't do it by myself. So how can I open the door for another instructor to come in that has a different perspective on life? So a lot of y'all may not know this, but like when Ali came in, I cried. When Tunde came in, I cried. When Jess Sims came in, I cried because it let me know that we were able to knock down a door for other people to walk through to share information and their experiences. I'm a young black man. I can't speak from the black woman's perspective whatsoever, but I got queens on my team that can. And now, because we move as a unit, we're able then to bring our community to the forefront and allow them to prioritize their mental and physical health. So I cried when I had that room full of all black men when I'm like, I never thought it would look like this. I never thought I would see people of our community be so enthusiastic about prioritizing their mental health. Because way back, it was deemed corny. It was deemed like, oh, we don't need to do that. So today I stand very much, I stand very proud of the work that we've done to be able to put ourselves in a position to even be here in Harlem, speaking to you, speaking to the community, because like 12 years ago, I was mopping floors and I was broke. Like, I never thought at one point people would even care what I had to say. People used to overlook my words, and now people are coming to hear what I have to say due to my experiences of life. So there's times where I wake up and I'm like, how the hell did I get here? And then by the time I move my body and get out the bed, I'm like, all right, I'm not here by accident. I'm here on purpose. So I'm moving through I'm moving through just the ancestry of like how my grandma, how my grandfather raised the family. I'm moving through like the last name of what it means to me. And I'm moving through just like, I refuse to allow any day to just go by and not me have a sense of purpose. Like that scares me. So I'm just motivated by the opportunity to wake up now and just be around community and people that look like us and inspire.
I love. And something that you just mentioned, not here by accident. And I know you had a really, really strong relationship with your grandmother. And I know that you didn't have the chance to see your grandfather, attend your grandfather's funeral because of being in military school. And that was the reason why. I don't want to give too much away of the book away. I do apologize. But what I wanted to ask is ultimately, like in 2020, George Floyd was murdered, and you made a statement, and you wore a hoodie, and you still taught a class that you were planning to cancel. What does authenticity look like for you today? Because I know at that moment, it was like, here I am. You welcome me into your home every time I teach a class, but there are people that are not riding or taking this class who look like me, sound like me, listen to the same music that you ride to, yet you're not embracing them, and things like this are still happening in our communities. I'm still getting stopped by the cops. I'm not being represented in media or appreciated. So what does authenticity look like for you today?
Um, to piggyback on what you said, I got a sense of when George Floyd passed, I had to check myself and remind myself why I even took the job at Peloton. I was like, for a second, did I get caught up in the quote unquote clout and the fame and just like the notoriety aspect? But I remember something as simple as when I first joined Peloton, I purposely would show up to every corporate meeting with a do-rag on. Not to just be ignorant, but to let people understand that, like, yo, if you're gonna make money off my trauma and my story, you're gonna have to be very comfortable around me and my skin and my people. I was very, very big on that. I wanted them to understand if you're able to identify me with a do-rag on and feel safe in this corporate environment, you shouldn't then get on the 3 train and then see somebody with a do-rag on and be like, let me clutch my purse. I want you to look at that person and be like, oh, that's AT. That's another, oh, that's AT. That's just a different version of AT. So for a lot of the people in the community, being the first black person in their household, I was like, if I could change your mindset on how you view me, that will give you just a small hesitation in life when you step out of your door to view the next black person. And if you have kids, then that allows you to teach your kids like, ooh, I interact with AT on the Peloton bike, maybe I should be more mindful about how I interact with people of his community. If AT's a good one, he can't be the only one. You know what I'm saying? That itself was a big, big thing for me. So when you say authenticity, I don't know how not to be authentic. I don't know how to quote unquote cap. I don't know how to do this thing of like waking up and faking it. I'm not faking it till you make it. I'm being very just who I am, and I'm comfortable in who I am. I stand in my purpose. I know where I come from. I know the respect that I have. I know my integrity. So to quote Deion Sanders, don't allow my confidence to be mistaken for arrogance due to your insecurity. So I'm very big on that.
I love that. Awesome. Wow. Can we just take a brief moment? Can you all just repeat after me? Look good, feel good, do better. One more time. Look good, feel good, do better. In case I don't know what it means, you tell us.
Honestly, you flipped it, but it goes both ways. No. But it truly, truly goes both ways. I didn't stop. You saw I didn't stop him. I was like, let it rock. So the feel good is the internal aspect. It's the how you put your head down on the pillow at night and how you view yourself when no one knows. Like that true, like looking in the mirror when nobody's around and identifying how you feel in that moment. That's the feel good. And once you find enough of that consistent feel good, that naturally allows you to attract a certain energy and put out a certain energy where now you look good to the outside eyes. So internally, we feel good. Externally, we look good to attract that energy and that positive light. But the goal isn't to just keep it for yourself, it's to expand it to other individuals. So if you have enough of that self-love, self-confidence, self-alignment, that's purpose, you should then share with other individuals and uplift them, because I promise you it comes right back around. The reason why I share love is because I'm selfish. I want love right back. And the way it works is it's a 360 aspect. So I wake up every single day and I make sure that I'm present with myself, identify how I feel. That way I could be present with other individuals and make them feel good about themselves. So the feel good internally, look good is the external aspect of what you attract to the people around you. And then the do better is to extend the hands to other individuals who may need it in whatever form that comes in. So whether that's me showing up into the working with the New York City Department of Education and showing up in these schools, whether that's me coming out here speaking to y'all, whether that's me pushing Peloton pedals, all of that is the do better aspect of uplifting individuals from multiple communities, because we climb mountaintops so we can view the world, not so the world can view us. And as somebody who grew up in I'm a Haitian American that grew up in East Hampton in 1999, 2000s, one of the first black families out there, that get shipped off to military school in the middle of nowhere, Lexington, Missouri, to then come back. There's so many different pockets of my life and understanding different communities where I just want to see everybody win. I don't have this thing of like race, religion, that stuff, to be honest with you. I don't play in that space. I look at you as an individual that woke up with breath, that woke up with opportunity, and my job is just to help you inspire no matter what you look like. And that comes from the military aspect of me.
And so I'll ask just 2 more questions for the sake of time. You look at people as individuals, and oftentimes media will portray black as this monolith when it's not. There are personalities, we're all different, Haitian American, Jamaican American, right? And so my question to you is, what's the importance of us as a culture, as a people, being able to embrace new experiences? Because again, before Peloton, you had Flywheel, but before Flywheel, you had probably never seen a stationary bike in your life, right? Which is why you've, of course, created the Do Better Foundation, because it democratizes wellness. So if you can speak to that, you know?
I want to make sure I heard your question properly. Ask it just one more time. I just want to make sure I give you the proper answer.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I just want to. I'm very much like I want to make sure I give you the proper answer.
So yeah, for sure. So being black is not a monolith, and media portrays it as such. So how can we as individuals, embrace new experiences?
Okay. First off, my education comes strictly through experiences. The ability to not exist in your life and live your life. So something as simple as when I got onto a spin bike and people were like, yo, us black people don't really do that. You got to understand that you have a different starting point, a different destination than everybody that's around you. along the way through that journey, there's a lot of information. One, you should be willing to live your life, aka go through these experiences and try new things because you learn so much more about yourself. Um, and also doing it with people that don't look like you. So a big thing for me in particular was when I joined Peloton. A lot of y'all may know Cody Rigsby. He's a white instructor, but gay instructor. And one of the things that me and him sat down within the first 3 weeks was like, if we want to be successful together, we need to understand each other's communities and each other's stories. So I spent a lot of time in his world, to be very transparent with you, which is not technically a normal thing to do. Straight black man putting himself into a gay white man's ecosystem, but people would look like you're crazy. I'm like, no, I'm crazy because I understand that his perspective on life is different than mine, but we have so many similarities and understanding of each other that we don't even realize we have. And because of his level of information and his journey, and because we shared through communication, it expanded my horizon and my aperture to go certain directions that I would have never seen before because mentally I'm just closed off on that side. So I would say be very mindful of surrounding yourself with individuals who truly don't look like you, who have different perspectives, who have different wants and needs, and who I'm very big on literally surrounding myself with people with the opposite spectrum. Like, if I don't believe in the same things you do, I actually want to talk to you to figure out, like, why do you see the world the way you see it? Because it helps me understand how to communicate with every demographic out there. So I don't know if that answers your question, but making sure you keep your aperture open to be receptive to other people's experiences, because other people's experiences could be your information.
Yes. And we have time for just one last question. So we'll try this again. Feel good, look good, do better. And so in terms of do better, you started a do better foundation because that is a part of you doing better for yourself, but doing better for our community. Can you tell us about the mission of the Do Better Foundation, the retreat that you all just went on, and what it means to you?
Yeah, the Do Better Foundation is one of the most powerful things and purposeful things for myself because I'm Haitian American. My best friend and lawyer in the front row is Korean American, and my other friend who couldn't be here today is Nigerian American. The common denominator is the immigrant mindset, right? And I used to sit in my apartment after Peloton classes and be like, yo, this is cool, but I feel so corny if I'm only known for pushing pedals. Like, if people only know me for having a good class in the world, in my opinion, I failed in life. That's just how I see it. Because the same way that a basketball player or football player has the platform or the NBA or the NFL, there's life after that career. And if you're only identified by what you did on the field, yeah, that's great, but like, there's such another chapter of life. So understanding that my parents, his parents, my other best friend's parents gave us the best resources, after school program, tutors, nutrition. They sacrificed to make sure that we were put in a position to not only win in life, but thrive in life. I understand a lot of individuals who look like me don't have those same resources and opportunities. But because of, honestly, the man above working overtime and us, because we push pedals in the right direction, it provided me a lot of opportunity to give to these people, to give to these communities that I identify with. So we started off with the military community first because a lot of the people that raised me in military school aren't here due to suicide. And that, to me, is one of those things that, like, I get emotional thinking about it because I didn't realize these people were dealing with such deep-rooted issues. So what we try to do is democratize wellness, and what that means is we worked with Joint Base Andrews down in D.C., and we provided them Peloton bikes to their facility. That way, the people of the service could have access to what we're doing here at Peloton. Then we went a step further, and shout out to Doc. I don't think he's here today, but the Men of Elmont was like the first school that we've ever partnered up with, because I saw a lot of myself in these kids. And Elmont was a school that my mom retired from, actually. And it was purpose for me and my team to make sure we find opportunities and resources for these kids. So one of the things that we do is the Do Better hike. We take these kids from the inner city, from the schools that they're at. We bring them literally to Bear Mountain, outside of their environment. We put them in transportation, bring them out there, and we have these kids hike. We have them climb mountaintops so they view the world different. They view themselves different. And if you could take yourself out of your environment and move in a different alignment, you view yourself with a different perspective. So when you go back into your environment, you have a new sense of accountability and a new sense of purpose. So my whole thing is to allow these kids who live in these environments that honestly sometimes just end up being still, let's bring them into a new perspective, have them move their body in a new alignment, and allow them to surround themselves with people around them so there's a sense of community accountability. And we've done this two to three times now, and you can see the difference of kids when they get off that school bus where they're like, oh, man, we hiking today, bro. Halfway up the mountain, they're like, okay, we moving with a purpose. By the time they get to the top, you can see them emotionally and mentally release so much stress that they don't even think they didn't realize they had. So my whole thing is to allow people to, through movement, physical movement will allow the mind to move. You move your body, your mind will follow. And if you stay on that consistent course, that will take you into new directions in life, and how you view yourself is how you treat yourself. So for these young kings and queens, my job is to help them identify with the fact that they are young kings and queens. But I have to take them out of their environment, because sometimes those environments aren't the healthiest of all places. But it starts with the kids first. So that's why they started the Do Better Foundation.
So in closing, just want to say that I can speak for everybody here. We appreciate you. You are an inspiration. You are representation. You've held it down. You continue to hold it down. And we thank you. Thank you so much.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, so yeah, back to my original question. So Melanie, yeah.
Yes.
What was something that you got from today's conversation?
Well, this conversation was extremely rich. It was profound. One of the things that I think is just really significant about Alex's journey and the book is the power of tenacity and perseverance. And that when you wake up in the morning, that you have certain values, right? Purpose, intention, those are the words, like commitment, purpose, intention, tenacity, perseverance. Those are the things that I received from the conversation. I'm actually a Peloton member myself, so
Give it up for all the Peloton members, please.
so I actually have a bike at home, and of course, just to tell sort of a short story, that I tore my ACL 2 years ago, so I could not work out at all. I got the Peloton bike, which I could do, and I started taking Alex's classes as well as everyone else. And that really motivated me. My ACL healed, and then I was able to, go back in the gym. So it's all about having mental focus, mental capacity, and waking up with intention and commitment that will really propel you forward into your destiny.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing, Melanie. Were any of you here for the conversation as well? Just a question. No? What's your name, sir? Yeah. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. So we had a brief conversation about 30 minutes ago with Alex Toussaint. He's a Peloton instructor, but he's also the first Black Peloton instructor. And Peloton is a spin class that is taught, worldwide to help individuals rehab, to help individuals stay health conscious, but also for mental health and so forth. And so we had this brief conversation about his life, his story, because we're here for the literary festival, but also here to learn about authors who are able to tell their own story. And in media and in life, a lot of times, we don't get the opportunity to tell our stories. Our stories are already told. It's truly an honor for the few of you that are sticking around. Had an idea where I was going to take the conversation. Yeah. What's your name, sir? What is it? All right, cool. Soccer. All right, that's cool. That's cool. So, tell me, like, what do you think about the importance of movement, right? Why is movement important and all that good stuff? One second. I got the mic for you.
If you do not move yourself, you do not heal yourself.
Yeah.
Because within movement, there's frequency. And within each frequency,
Talking to Mike, my brother.
and within the frequency, you reach different levels of consciousness. So I truly believe that if people move themselves more often, they will be able to heal some of the, not just the emotional and social damage, but also psychological damages that have been done by our society.
Love. That's love. That's love. Movement is important. And movement brings us all together, in all honesty. And if I can say so, y'all don't know anything about me. You don't know anything about me, other than the fact that my name is Anthony Valentine. I'm from Connecticut. And I think what I love so much about today and this moment specifically is the fact that this is my first time that I got to really see. I've been to a block party in New York. That's number one. Number two, it's so beautiful to be able to see the representation of so many different types of people, different backgrounds, different walks, different interests, Because again, when we had this conversation with Alex, I mentioned how many people perceive blackness to be a monolith, as if we are all the same, but there is a dynamicism, I think that's the word, of blackness, right? Of black culture, of what black joy is, of black love. And I remember speaking in Brooklyn, because I do motivational speaking on occasion. And while in Brooklyn, somebody had asked one of the questions, I was on a panel that said, well, what is black love? And I really thought about it for a second. And I know we can make the references of like Love Jones, we can make the references of black movies, Brown Sugar, and what black love is. But I sat there for a second and realized that black love is being able to accept and embrace that blackness is a spectrum and loving every part of blackness along that spectrum. And ultimately, I think that is what love is as well, is being able to love everyone and all people along this spectrum of life, right? And so I just wanted to speak to that because just being here in Harlem is beautiful. You know, I think of the Harlem Renaissance, right? That's the first thing that I learned in school about black culture in Connecticut at that. One of the states where everybody assumes is the most widest state. But listen, we got a few sprinkles of the salt and the pepper up in there too. You know what I mean? We got the sprinkles there. And I remember being in, what was it? I credit my mom because she always put me in like acting and different classes and stuff like that. And I remember doing a theater play with my uncle's ex-wife. And I had to learn the first poem that I ever learned in my life, which was Dream Deferred by Langston Hughes. That was the first poem that I had ever learned in my life. And then there was another poem that I learned following that. I don't remember all of it, but it goes like, sturdy I stand, books in my hand, today's dark child, tomorrow's strong man, the journey of my, it's also another Langston Hughes poem. And for me, I think this moment is full circle personally because I myself had never had the chance to, I guess, recite that poem Harlem or Dream Deferred, but haven't had an impact on my life for so long. Because what your greatness, the book by Alex Toussaint talked about, is activating your greatness. But your greatness in many ways is this progression where it starts with a dream first, right? But most people in life, what do they not do? Believe in themselves. Or there are people who don't believe believe in them as well. And because of that, they build this wall. And when I talk to kids, I tend to talk about the walls that we build and how those walls prevent us from achieving our greatness, right? I tell kids all the time, when you are going through your first heartbreak, that first heartbreak then creates this experience of what you think love is for you, right? You can't be loved again because now this heartbreak has turned into this feeling because of this experience, and that experience now create this belief in your head. Nobody will love me, or I'm not attractive enough, or this, that, and the third. And you build this wall, and now you go out into the world and you don't know how to have simple conversations with people because of that wall we build. And I know Alex, he had mentioned his rift with his father. And one of the questions that I had asked Alex was, well, what does that process of healing and forgiveness looks like? Because we can carry this baggage every single day, but carrying anything every single day will get heavy. You can carry a piece of paper with your hand outstretched every single day. For that first day, it's not heavy. You got this. That second day, it's not. But by that third day, that fourth day, got the soreness in your arms. You're tired. You're exhausted. You're wondering, well, dang, this piece of paper looks so light, but because we've been carrying it for so long, it becomes more difficult for us to live, to activate our greatness. So I wanted to share that. And I wanted to ask, for those that were present, show of hands if you were present for the conversation with Alex Toussaint, the Peloton instructor, and myself. If you were here, you were here, you were here. Okay, so since you were here, we're friends now, Rebecca. I have a question. What was something that really spoke to you during that conversation? What was something that really resonated with you? If you don't mind sharing, I'm putting you on the spot. But you should also talk about, you know, what it meant to put this festival together, obtaining funding, all of the above, if you don't mind. It only goes so far. Yeah, I'm sorry.
So I can't take credit for putting this festival together. That's the Schomburg team and Novella and her team. But I think it's wonderful to do these types of partnerships and to have folks like PUMA who really take partnership to the next level. It's not just about a logo or placement. It's really about sort of deep engagement. And I think hearing Alex's words, and I think all of it was just motivating, and him speaking to perseverance, and I think all the topics he spoke to were so relatable, and I think the message of just pushing through, the message of activate your greatness and just wanting to tap into that. I think it's just themes that, like he said, no matter what you look like, what your background is, we can all sort of benefit and be inspired by that. And so really grateful for Alex and Puma for being present here and adding these words of inspiration to the literary festival today.
Love, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. One thing I also want to point out that just kind of came to my spirit is like, it's never too late to dream, and it's never too late to do. And I feel when we get told no so many times, or we don't have enough people believing or validating our dreams, and we carry again that burden that maybe I should just give up on my dream, and because I'm giving up on my dream, I'll do X or I'll do Y or I'll do Z. But it's never too late. And I say that because ultimately, in learning about Alex's story, again, Alex is the first Black Peloton instructor. If you don't know what Peloton is, it's a spin class that people take worldwide. And so he was just here a few moments ago. He authored his first book called Activate Greatness, and him and I had a conversation about his story, his life, and all the things that he has overcame. And so going back to this idea of dreaming big, I know many of us, again, we give up on our dreams. We don't feel that we can get this done. But in learning about Alex's story, everything is full circle. And there's so many moments in our life when we can feel counted out. We can feel counted out at 5 years old, right? When we build that sandcastle for the first time, and then the water washes it away. And then we think to ourselves, dang, the water washed away my sandcastle. I'm not gonna be able to build another sandcastle. I've spent so much time on it, so I give up now. Or maybe when you're 12 years old, you don't make the basketball or the soccer team. Or you give up on that dream to be a soccer player. Or maybe when you're 19 and you don't get accepted to any of the colleges that you want to get to or attend. And so you give up on that dream. And you go to military school, but you get kicked out because they don't allow you to see your aunt or your uncle who passed away. And all through life, there's these roadblocks and roadblocks and roadblocks that cause us to pivot in many ways, but also causes us to forfeit our dreams. But ultimately, what I've realized, again, from Alex's story, from my story, from everybody's story, is life is in many ways full circle. And so what that means is what we've seen in our past years ago, in many ways kind of helps direct us back to this dream that we've always had, right? And so, I don't know what your dream is, but it's my hope that, in the words of Langston Hughes, that your dream is not deferred. Because what happens to a raisin in the sun? A raisin out here, that probably shrivel up because it's so hot. But what happens to a raisin in the sun? Does it fester like a sown and run? Does it stink like rotten meat? Or maybe it crusts and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Or maybe it sags like a heavy load? Or does it explode? And when I hear that poem or just recite that poem today, I think to myself, well, you know what? I don't want to find out what happens to a dream that's deferred. What I only want to find out is what happens when I achieve my dreams, what it means to activate my greatness. I'm sure when you had that ACL injury and you had to rehab and you thought to yourself, dang, I'm never going to be able to move my knees as I was able to do it before. Meg the Stallion, whatever. But I wouldn't be able to work my knees, wouldn't be able to walk like I would want to be able to walk too. But what you do every day, you was on that bike, you were cycling. And now you able to, I'm over here telling you to meet and greet. You ran over there. You ran in front of me. I'm like, oh, look at you. I would never have known you had an ACL injury. But I'm sure at one point your dream or your belief in yourself was like, I want to overcome this challenge and this obstacle. And so if there's anything, because I'm looking at the crowd and I'm seeing all of you, and I think to myself, and one thing I want you all to get away from this is that it's never too late to dream. It's never too late to do. It's never too late to inspire. It's never too late to love. It's never too late. It is only late if you let it be late. Don't let it be late. How much time we got? Because I'm just like going now. Okay. All right, cool. So let me ask y'all this then. For those that weren't here for the conversation, what brought you into this space right now? Is it the lovely, soothing voice of Mr. Anthony Valentine? Is it the knowledge, or are you just trying to get out the sun? Anybody? James Baldwin? I wish I could write like James Baldwin. Well, for sure, for sure. And so I don't know. Okay, so we're gonna make it a James Baldwin segment. That's what we're gonna do. Okay. James Baldwin is a amazing author. I have not read all of his literature, but of the literature that I have read, it spoke to me. And of course, I Am Not Your Negro is famous, right? I think even people that are not people of our diaspora have heard or read the book or have seen the documentary. So my question to you is like, what does James Baldwin mean? Who does James Baldwin mean to you, or what does he mean to you? Can you sit front row? Because I want to hear I want to hear you talk. I got to give you a microphone. We all want to hear you. This is a space for us all to be heard. And so the question again, what's your name? Everybody say, what's up, Deborah? I can't hear you. Everybody say, what's up, Deborah? I still can't hear y'all. Let's show Deborah some love. Everybody say, what's up, Deborah? Ah, love, love. So Deborah, yes, please. James Baldwin, tell us.
Thank you. I'm not an expert on James Baldwin, but I knew my father grew up in Harlem, and I think they were born around the same time, like 1925 or so. And he talked about what a powerful writer he was. And when I started reading some of his books, the thing that spoke to me about James Baldwin is he just wrote about the Black experience from his heart, from what it was like growing up. And even though he was from a whole different era than I was, even reading his pieces now, they still apply. He talks so much about Black men being incarcerated, having their freedom taken away from them, and different things like that. And it's just so amazing to me how those themes then were just so powerful and still exist now. So, he'll always have a special place in my heart. Thank you.
Now that's love. That's love. And as I hear you talk, I think about what it means to do one act. And this is why I said, like, it's never too late to dream. It's never too late to do, because, if James Baldwin stopped writing because nobody was reading his work, right? James Baldwin did, I believe, go to Europe for quite some time because America was just a lot different during that era. And he kept writing and kept writing. And if he stopped writing because of the obstacles of segregation, obstacles of racism and so forth, would we be sitting under a tent dedicated to the James Baldwin stage? Or would you be able, Deborah, have shared that James Baldwin's work spoke in many ways to so many different people? And so I want to reiterate that point again, that it's never too late to dream, because even if one person is inspired by that one piece of writing or that one thing that you said or that one conversation that Alex and I had on this stage, that is enough. It is enough to keep going. Because ultimately, in the words of Alex, you want to first feel good, you want to look good, and you want to do better. And to do better is giving back. And in giving back, what we leave is a legacy. Harlem is all about legacy. It's the first place that I learned about, again, when I was in middle school, where Black people would have congregated and they would have worked and brought up the creative arts and creative expression to change the world. And again, we're still talking about these individuals today. And so it brings me to legacy. You see, when I talk to just kids, college students, people in general, I try to help them understand that, you know, we all leave a legacy. And every day that we live is another page being added to our book. Every year that we finish, another chapter. Every moment, every interaction is another sentence or another paragraph. And ultimately, it's up to us to figure out what will our story say. You see, in Alex's book, he talks about living and not just existing. Existing is your story just being written, and you have no autonomy, you have no say. You're just walking through the motions in life. But living is understanding that I could be 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, but this is still my life. And I'm still writing my story. And perhaps I'm at a point in my life where I can give back, even if it's to one person, because that person will carry on what I instilled in them. And it goes to say that we can instill sadness, grief into somebody, or we can instill joy into somebody. And in a time where everything is so polarizing, everything is so divisive, everything is so, you're this person and that person, what we need more than anything else is community. What we need more than anything else is conversation with each other. What we need more than anything else is to understand our impact on each other. To understand that what I say to somebody truly matters. What I do to somebody truly matters. Who I am for somebody truly matters. And in the spirit of Harlem and what it means to me and the community in itself, let's adopt that. Let's rebirth that. Let's rebirth movements. Let's rebirth unity. Let's rebirth family dinners. Let's rebirth, hey, how you doing? I don't know your name, but listen, I still want to know how you doing. Let's rebirth that. And it doesn't start at any specific point. It doesn't start in the adolescence. It doesn't start in the teens. It doesn't start in the adults. It doesn't start in the elder. It starts with all of us at one time, in one moment, because we ultimately need us. And so legacy is important, y'all. Dreaming big is important. Activating your greatness is important. Not giving up is important. And I speak to that not giving up piece. What I want to say is, while it's so easy to give up, there's so many people that are watching us, and they are young, and they're paying attention. And when we do have that frown on our face, or we do look like we're just not having a good day, they see that, they carry that with them. And so be mindful of how we're treating each other, be mindful how we are treating the youth, and be mindful how we treat ourselves, more importantly. So again, anybody here was here for that conversation earlier today with Alex Toussaint, the first Black Peloton instructor, author of Activate Your Greatness? Anybody else that was here for that conversation? Show of hands. You were here? I was going to put you on the spot, but you look like you got some good food back there. Put you on the spot. What is your name first? Would you mind coming to the front, please? Man, you got to be hot, bro. You got to be hot. You what happened? Oh, short sleeve, but the jacket's not. Let me feel this. Is this that summer? Oh, this that. Oh, okay. All right. That's how I know it costs a lot. Because when I go to Burns and Coat Factory, man, they give you like one type of coat. So what's your name, sir?
Charles from Brooklyn.
Everybody say, what's up, Charles from Brooklyn? All right, I just talked about showing love. Everybody say, what's up, Charles from Brooklyn? Yeah, that's how we do it out here. All right, Charles, so tell me, I'm curious to know, one, like, what spoke to you or resonated with you from the conversation with Alex and I?
One thing that resonated was the fact that he had somebody that mentored him, and also him getting back together with his father. And maybe not getting back together, seemed that like they had an adversarial relationship for a long time. But the fact that they reconciled was beautiful. But the importance of mentoring is so important, because I had so many mentors in my life. I just took it for granted. But I think it's because of who my parents were, that they had a good amount of friends that they grew up with, that they knew for a long time, that my sister and I called uncle and aunt. So there I had a male role models, plural. And then our house was like always open because my father was a preacher. So people from the neighborhood were always in the house. Yeah.
Speak it to the mic.
Oh, I thought I had food on my mouth. I got food on my mind. Yo. Yeah. Hold me down. Hold me down. Okay. Shoot, some of y'all look hungry, man. I was too. I'm just joking. Where was I? So the house was always open place, and then both of my parents were educators as well. And so, long story short, because I could go on, I remember when the brother was speaking. I remember an older man in our neighborhood. He was the president of the Block Association in Crown Heights, Prospect. Shout out to Crown Heights, Brooklyn. He was the president of the Block Association, Mr. Daniels. And he just took an interest in me when I was very small and was just telling me and my parents something about that Charles. Something about that Charles. I just listened to him. Then fast forward to when I was going to Brooklyn College studying education. I didn't really want to study education. I was trying to break into the business world with my 2-year degree from New York Technical College. But it was racism there. So you got in, but you see like white cats that barely had a high school diploma passing you by. And it wasn't because they were more talented or more gifted or more hardworking. That wasn't it. Because we study these guys, we're like, him? They're like, oh, okay, we got it. we know why. But anyway, long story short, my mother said, go back to school, become a teacher. And my sister encouraged me. My father was not crazy about the idea, but he just wanted me in school and college. So, Mr. Daniels, I'm hanging out all night long. It's the 80s now. We are partying. Me and my friends are partying hardy. It's the 80s. I'm not going to go into the 80s. No, that's all right. You got a straw? No. Well, that's inside joke. You don't know about straws? You got to cut them a certain way so you can hang out. Yeah, the straw. You got to cut them a certain way so you can hang out and pass that bill.
Like straws. Yeah.
You know what sugar is?
Yeah.
He's saying yeah. He don't want to. Oh, he's on camera. Oh, so am I. We're talking about breakfast, and you got to put sugar on cornflakes because it's not Frosted Flakes. Okay, thank you, brother. Whoa, I forgot I was on camera. Anyway, long story short, so I'm hanging out all night, phone rings. My mother's like studying to be a principal. She's in taking what class is that at? Administrative supervision class on Saturday morning. So that's how I'm able to sneak in 9 o'clock without her seeing me. Anyway, so the phone rings, and I struggle up to get on the phone. It's Mr. Daniels. Knew me since I was like 3 years old. So I'm like, I'm hungover. Oh, no, I had a long night. I was at work all night. Oh, look at that camera right there. Anyway, so Mr. Daniels says, how you doing? I forget, what he used to call, oh, yeah, hey, how you doing, Charlie? How you doing? He said, you're a leader. I said, excuse me? He said, don't forget, you're going to school for education. You're going to be a teacher. You are a leader. So that's just one of the people that just inspired me in my life.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that history lesson on straws.
Straws, they're good for drinking.
Yeah. So we got about 5 minutes left, and I just want to close with a few things. You spoke to something very important, which is mentorship. And the first thing I'll say is this. Many of you in this space have the ability to mentor somebody. And I'm not saying an ongoing mentorship. I'm saying literally a conversation on the street. That is in many ways mentorship. And when I was younger, again, I'm from Connecticut, I always had this view of New York when you were in certain neighborhoods that, you know, if they saw you sagging your pants, auntie yell out the window, pull your pants up. Or, you know, you saw them, you know, about to engage in something that, stay in school. But it feels as though we've gotten tired. And that sense of correction is now lost, but it can be found. And I think in us finding it, it's about us opening up our aperture, as Alex said earlier, and being intentional about doing better and understanding that, yes, although many of us in this space have lived a good portion of our lives, we are still leaving something behind. And so I worked on an ambulance. I still do, actually, until I can convert and do something full time. But I worked in the ambulance for 7 years in Hartford, Connecticut. I got my degree in biology. I've seen people on their last ride, their first ride. I've seen people that didn't even make it to the ambulance. And, you know, there are moments on the ride or when I drop somebody off at the hospital and I'll see patients who are elderly, or I'll sit down with somebody who is elderly now, and they'll be in this daze. And I often wonder, like, what are they thinking about? And I'm the type of person, I'm gonna ask you. If I wanna know something, I'm going to ask. So much so, my friends be like, yo, you doing too much. But I'm curious and I want to know. And so I ask, and what I find is people tend to not think about what they didn't, they think about what they didn't do and also what they do. And I don't ever want to get to a place when I'm however long I live and think to myself as I reflect on my life, I didn't do enough. And I'm just watching everything and everybody pass me by, just existing, knowing that I can inspire and impact, even if it's just one kid. And there are kids and there are young adults who just don't have that figure at home. And what they need is just somebody around them to just remind them every day. The same thing, remind them. Although they may not do it in that moment, they're gonna pull their pants back down. They still going, because nobody cared for them. And what's so wild to me is, one thing I've learned is when you deal with trauma so much, it just becomes normalized. Anything normalized, when something new comes, it's hard to accept. So if nobody has ever asked me about my day, that is just normal. So the one person that does, one, I don't know how to answer. Two, I don't know how to be honest about it. Three, I just don't even think you care. And so a lot of us, knowing how much life we've lived, we have to undo that trauma in some way, or just help, not even undo it, just help heal it by not giving up, and heal yourself as well. And so I'll close by saying, Blackness is beautiful. You all are beautiful. Even if you've forgotten that you're beautiful, know that you're beautiful. And look in that mirror and go untap everything you feel like you're not. Yeah. Peace. Love y'all. Love y'all, man. It's good.